All right, so welcome everyone. Thanks again for taking part of your morning. We have been trying to do this event quarterly. We started out before the pandemic in person, and we've been virtual since that February meeting at Port of Tucson last year. But we will hopefully now be able to look at our fall schedule and have some in-person opportunities and make the rounds at some of our companies and industries and have a peek inside the places of business as well. So I'm Barbara Coffey, Director of Economic Initiatives for the City of Tucson. And then co-host with me today is Amber Smith with the Tucson Metro Chamber. So again, partnering up, looking for a way to just have a touch point with our businesses and create a forum for exchange and conversation and hopefully just share some nuggets of wisdom as well as we have speakers with us to provide their expertise and thoughts. So with that, I have a very special guest with us, Vice Mayor Nikki Lee, and also council member over Ward 4. She has been a great addition to our mayor and council and really helped us navigate this past year. So with that, I'll let her say some words of welcome. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Barbara. First of all, I just want to thank you for the invitation to come say a couple words. I'm excited to be here today because I have the privilege of being able to work in the private sector as well, which gives me so much context as to the challenges and the opportunities that have been presented to you all as business leaders over the past 12 or 14 months. So I'm just really grateful that the Chamber and the city have worked together to create this opportunity to share lessons learned and create a network and build relationships within the business leaders of our community during this challenging time, and really excited about what the future holds as we come out of this and what the recovery is going to look like for Tucson. So I'm just grateful to be here and grateful to hear the questions and the conversations today, and hopefully that will help inform the decisions that we make to support you all as we move forward.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll also turn it over to Amber to say a welcome, and then we'll talk about the format for today and we'll move into our speakers. Amber?
Good morning. Thanks everyone for being here. The partnership really is the benefit of these conversations. We work very closely with the city as well as with our speakers. And each quarter we try to highlight something that is relevant and important to all of those respective groups and identify where are those overlaps for us to identify areas that we can work together to make improvements, to amplify a message, or whatever it is that we determine in those conversations. So particularly today, workforce development is one of our top 3 tiers as an organization. And so, and even with our speakers represents our board of directors as well. Both Raytheon and Pima Community College have representatives on our board of directors, which again really reinforces that partnership and that strength as not only major employers, but huge advocates within workforce development, either on the employer side or of course as a job trainer in the case of Pima Community College. So I'm excited to hear the presentation today and thank everyone for your time and being here.
Awesome. And a shout out to Julie Katzel with the University of Arizona. They have been a proud sponsor for our CEO Roundtable events this year. And so hope to continue to convene with them as we move through the year and hear more about, again, the support that U of A provides to our industry and our employers in Tucson. So thanks, Julie. All right, I'll get us started. So again, thank you for joining. We have a panel presentation today with 2 wonderful ladies. And again, I appreciate the Vice Mayor for helping make some connections with Raytheon and Mona Bates, our guest speaker today. And she is VP of Digital Technology and CIO for Raytheon. So welcome. And then also joining Amanda Abens, who is, and I'm going to get this right, the Dean of Workforce Development and Continuing Education at Pima Community College. So she has a big role, and we certainly partner often with their entire team of workforce development folks at Pima Community College on a lot of the work we do here at the city. So with that, we're just going to pose some questions, and then I want you all to also be thinking, and we'll make this a conversation to please feel free to use the raise your hand feature or pose some questions in the chat or the Q&A function, and I'll make sure to pepper those in, but we're going to have a dialogue today. So I'll start off, Mona, with you and talk a little bit about the trends you're seeing in your industry sector. As we move out of this pandemic, what's happening? Are we experiencing some growth where you're seeing it? Is there some decline or any pause for concern? Start with that.
Thank you, Barbara. It's really an honor to be here with all of you. And Nikki, thank you for the invitation. So throughout the pandemic, we've seen some trends that are continuing right now. And so for those of you who don't know Raytheon Technologies, so we are made up of 4 businesses, and recently we had completed a very big merger that brought Raytheon and United Technologies together. So right now the new makeup of our company makes up for a portfolio of 50% that's defense and 50% that is commercial. So on the defense side, and this is where we have a big plant in Tucson that's focused on the missile part of the business, we have actually continued to see steady growth in the defense market. And that trend is continuing. We anticipate we will see stable to low digit growth in that defense market. On the commercial side, however, the 2 businesses that make up our commercial segment are Pratt & Whitney and Collins Aerospace. And for those of you who are familiar with those companies, they largely provide for the aviation industry, which unfortunately have been significantly impacted by the pandemic. Pratt & Whitney specializes in engines, commercial and military engines, and Collins Aerospace provide for most of everything that's aboard an aircraft, from avionics to mechanical systems, to command and control, to interiors. And unfortunately, with the impact of the pandemic on the aviation and travel industry, they have seen significant decline, and that recovery is not expected fully until probably end of 2023, early 2024. Now, having said that, I just saw an article over the weekend that said last Sunday, the airport saw about 1.9 million travelers just on that one day. So that's a great sign of early recovery, if you will. So we're hopeful the recovery will continue, but that full commercial recovery is not expected for a couple more years.
So in your unique role, I'm curious too, just to look back at the pandemic and how you all as a company adapted with much of the remote working or any change in workplace environment. What did you see, and what do you think is going to happen going forward?
Yeah, that's the popular questions as of late, throughout the pandemic, because of the type of work that we do, particularly on the defense side, we've really retained about 50% of our workforce as on-site workers. You could think about the factory work that we do, the classified programs that we support, those can't really be done remotely. And so throughout the pandemic, we've been very lucky to partner with, in our communities and provide for keeping our employees on site and safe. So about 50% of our population, workforce population, remained on site. The other 50%, we've enabled the remote work. So this has been this has been the environment for the last 14, 15 months. Looking forward, as we recover and hopefully put the pandemic behind us, we're actually expecting that out of the 50% of the workforce that is now remote, that about 20% of that will continue to adopt remote work practices. The other 30%, we anticipate a hybrid type work environment where they will return to work a few days a week. So it will be kind of a combination of on-site and off-site type work. So, there is silver lining behind, this dynamic I just described here. I think this allowed us to create a mutually beneficial option to the employer and the employee to give them the preference, both pandemic as to where do you want to work, what works best for you. And so we're now looking at kind of this hybrid plan and how do we make this a mutually beneficial process for both the employee and employer.
That's awesome. And it seems to resonate with what I'm hearing from other companies and even our own organization, that, hopefully we take the lessons we've learned and the good opportunity for some quality of life or work-life balance, and use that for the good. But then there's that opportunity to connect back with our teams in person, and make sure that those relationships are still intact and that our work is meaningful in that manner. And so I think that we will see some hybrid of that. So let's turn to Amanda for a moment and draw you in from the community college perspective. What industries are reaching out to you to inquire right now about training and curriculum needs? What are you seeing in this moment coming out of the pandemic that we're going to need to be focusing on?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Barbara. So, it's really exciting to see us all start to come out from under this pandemic. We really have been just amazed at the whole Tucson community and how we all have handled it. And we're really hearing a lot right now from our manufacturing partners, our manufacturing industry, our health professions, and our logistics area. Your office, Barbara, has been working hard and strong during this time, as Sun Corridor has. And so we've also been busy partnering with all of you in still talking to those site recruiters. It really is exciting, the opportunities that Pima County has and are engaging in right now. One thing that we're really seeing, in addition to hearing from our local business and industries what their hiring needs are, we're really seeing this increased surge in need for reskilling their employees and this focus on that. And so this look at possible apprenticeship and looking at tuition reimbursement. There's a number of you all here today that have really invested in those things. Certainly Howard with the AGM Container Controls, huge investor in your employees. City of Tucson, very much so as well. And we're working with you all on a couple of fronts also. And Raytheon, definitely big upskilling partner and investing in their own employees. So we're really seeing an increase in that employers are really looking at how do we invest in who we have and how do we use that as a retention and recruitment tool as well. It's an exciting time.
So also to kind of pose a similar question, what happens now with classroom instruction? What are our students going to experience coming back into the community college environment? Is it virtual? Is it a hybrid? Talk about that.
The short answer to that is yes, it is all of those things. So we, like you all, have adapted really quickly and moved everything virtually online, then brought those folks that needed skills-based training in, and we've learned a lot. And certainly the biggest takeaway is that our students, our community, our employers need our training to be as flexible as possible. We definitely hear from some students that they really absolutely want that in-person experience. We hear from some that they want that asynchronous, that I can go online and I can do it at 2 a.m. in my pajamas if I want to, and others that does not work for. But they love the idea of a synchronous live, like we're doing here right now, to have education. And that's an area that we really didn't do before the pandemic that has really grown grown in popularity. So as we prepare to come back in fall session, when we come back for fall semester, we are going to have our campuses are going to be open. We're going to have all of our supports back on campus and much more classes, but we're also still going to have those virtual and online options happening as well. And so really looking at how is it that we provide the best flexible mix for our students. And that includes those classes where they get hands-on skills. So if it's manufacturing or if it's paramedicine, how is it that we do as much of that, what is book learning or lecture? How do we do that in a hybrid manner? How do we do that in a way that is really flexible for that student, but then have them learn those hands-on skills in our lab and or best on the job site? And how do we combine all of those things together for a really robust learning experience? And to that end of flexibility, we're investing about $2 million right now into what we call high flex classrooms, so that we can have classrooms that have a lot of technology to the tune of almost $100,000 to each classroom, with lots of cameras that move around, lots of screens, so that we can have students in the classroom while we also have remote students anywhere, and we can all be recording it so somebody can utilize that on their time at 2 a.m. in their pajamas too. So we're working to figure out how do we offer the greatest amount of flexibility.
That's awesome. And I can always count on an educator to teach me a new word, synchronous, in that manner. I hadn't thought about it before, but that's exactly, and thank you for defining that for us. So we've all learned a lot. I want to ask Mona, because this is sort of where the rubber meets the road. Do you see at Raytheon, are there challenges that you face when it comes to recruiting who you need? Do you have the skills? Do you find the skills in our community to hire the positions you need to fill? And talk a little bit about that if there are challenges, because I think we'd want to hear that. We want to know, how do we solve for that if they're there?
Absolutely. So, I mentioned earlier that our defense, missiles and defense business line is growing. And so the great news is that we're growing, and that means we need more talent. And so I will tell you the war on talent is very tough right now, particularly in the STEM fields, the science, technology, engineering, and math. And in my own organization, we are struggling significantly to find people, particularly cleared people, because of the type of business that we do. People who have the clearances or eligible to get them makes it even more difficult. In the IT industry right now, we're seeing 2% unemployment rate. This is all times low. Right, good news is, that market is strong, but it makes it very difficult to find those skill sets and to attract them to our company. And so, and the pandemic hasn't helped, right? So the traditional recruiting events, the partnerships that we've had suffered a little bit, over the last year to 14 months. So right now we're looking at ways to rejuvenate those programs, to double down on recruitment opportunities and channels. And we absolutely have to do that. And I mentioned STEM, but I also put a fine point on cyber skill sets, cybersecurity. This is a growing market, for us, and we need more of that talent. And Amanda talked a little bit about the reskilling, right? So that's near, and dear. So we are ever innovating, right? And right now we're investing significantly in digitally transforming our enterprise. How we go to market, how we work internally, significant investments are happening there. So when you think about those digital technologies like data science, analytics, machine learning, cloud computing, augmented reality, like these modern technologies, we're all for that transformation of employee skill sets to make sure they possess what's needed for us to lead the way. Now, the good news is part of the merger, one of the new programs Raytheon Technologies have embarked on is what we call is the Scholar program. In effect, this program doubled the education assistant benefit that our employees have. And now they could apply those benefits and resources to really any education field, right? It doesn't have to be specifically related to their current role. It kind of opens up the horizons for our employees. So that's a great benefit that we now have that really offers our workforce more development opportunities to continue to transform their skill sets. So, you know, some of the other things that we're intending to do as part of rejuvenating, you know, our recruitment and really building that pipeline are those partnerships with, you know, local universities, university programs. You know, I'm a huge believer, and, you know, across the business, you know, we're tackling this is we need to grow that early career pipeline, internship programs, you know, programs of that nature, because that's what's going to help us kind of build the momentum and the pipeline so we can stay at the, you know, levels that we need to be from a workforce perspective.
So where do you draw employees from today? So where are you successful hiring talent right now?
You know, specifically in
where are they coming from, and are you able to hire them from our local community and sort of the universities and colleges that, you know, here? Are they coming from out of area? What do you notice in that regard?
Yes, so definitely from the universities, and we've had great partnerships. In fact, as of late, I've had the opportunity to be appointed to the U of A Board of Advisors for the LR School of Management, and I'm learning and studying quite a bit about the trends there. So we definitely have those, the workforce coming out of the universities, veterans population, and that's not necessarily only, you know, from within the Tucson or Arizona area, but with veterans, you know, we have the opportunity to recruit those folks, you know, who are leaving the service and ready to join the workforce. So, you know, different places, Barbara, but the issue is we don't have enough of them. We need more of that. In fact, the last metric I looked at, we had about 884 open positions just in the Tucson area. Right now, open positions ready to go. So that tells you, I mean, that's a significant number for us. So we need more of that influx of talent joining the company.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'll turn to Amanda and maybe let her respond a little bit. I'm curious as to what you see in terms of preparing the talent that might, whether they move through Pima Community College, they move on to university. What helps you be successful in that, Amanda, from the college side?
Awesome, thank you. There's a number of things, and you know, we've taken a little bit of an enrollment hit during the pandemic, as most educational institutions have, but we're seeing good trends for summer and fall, so we're enthusiastic about that. And so, there's so many important things that Mona hit on too that just are really meaningful to us as well as we look at preparing the workforce. And one of the things that she hit on was those security checks and the background checks. We see that as an issue as well too. And one of the things, whether it's background checks and having folks be prepared to be able to pass those and having that clean background, as well as preparing folks so that they are excited and interesting to go into those STEM and IT fields, is also starting early. So we also see that as really important when we look at our enrollment needs and the business and industries needs for dedicated and educated and prepared employees, is really looking at it early. So we do have a Pima for Youth program, so that we are looking at kids as young as 11 years old and working with them, working in middle school. So we're looking to really grow that program, and our dual enrollment program, so that our high school students can be earning college credit, because that's also a great way for folks to keep those backgrounds clean so that they're going to be ready and prepared. And that's also working with our university partners and working with the U of A and other four-year schools, so that we have that great pipeline for the students so that they can serve all of the needs, whether it's the middle skill needs or the higher needs. Those are some of the things that we're doing at Pima as we look at having that steady stream of folks coming through our training programs, coming to work for you all.
So there was a question, I think, posed by Jan here to talk a little more about the apprenticeship or internship programs at Pima. How are they structured and how do those work?
That's a great question, Jan. As we think of work-based learning broadly, all the way from a quick job shadow experience to an apprenticeship or an internship. So an internship typically for us is a student that's actively enrolled with us and in a program of study and taking an internship course. So they're earning college credit, and at the same time that they're coming to work for you all. That can be a paid or unpaid position, typically lasting a semester or more, where they are demonstrating those skills and bringing all of their learning together. In the education world, we call that a capstone experience to typically end their certificate or their degree program. And then an apprenticeship program, which we actually have some grant funds right now to support some apprenticeships in some specific areas as we look to grow those. An apprenticeship program is really employer driven. So that is an employer who's willing to make that investment in somebody, hire them on, they're an employee at that company while they're doing what we call the related training, or in apprenticeship talk, it's called RTI, along with on-the-job training. And we have an apprenticeship office. Many of you know Denise Kingman from our office that oversees our employer engagement and career services, and she works with employers to develop that customized apprenticeship program. And that can be registered apprenticeship, or it can be employer-driven apprenticeship. There's a lots of different ways to look at that apprenticeship, but it really is that earn and learn model where our community members can be going to school, getting that education while they're serving you, while they're working for you, and they're also able to support their families at the same time. So that really is the gold standard model for work-based learning.
That's great. And I think it crosses all industry sectors, I'm sure, in terms of, the curriculum and the industries that they can intern in. Maybe it would be helpful, and please feel free to drop a contact in the chat so that people could reach out to Denise if they want to follow up. I think that's fantastic. And then I enjoyed yesterday the ribbon cutting on the Center for Excellence, the Automotive Technology and Innovation Center at the downtown campus of Pima Community College. That was exciting and just a fabulous building. So hats off to Pima for that, because I think, again, that will attract students in that sector. They're going to love going into that facility. So I recommend everyone take a look at that. But talk about just quickly the Centers for Excellence. How do they play a role in what we're trying to do to educate the workforce of the future? How does that help us here in Tucson?
Thank you so much for mentioning our new automotive building that the ribbon cutting as Barbara mentioned was just yesterday. So that's the first of our centers of excellence to open. Our center of excellences are in 6 different areas. So we have our applied technology that includes the automotive, includes our aviation technology center, our advanced manufacturing, which that building is under construction right now. It houses advanced manufacturing, as well as building construction trades. And we're really excited to other components in that building that are included are an incubation space for small upstarts in manufacturing, and as well as what we call a FIT lab, FIT, flexible industry training space, so that we have dedicated space to train for our business and industry partners. Right now in our limited space, we often have to we have to do it around our student schedule. So sometimes that's great, we'd love to do that training for you, but we only have Friday morning from 9 to 11, or Saturdays from 2 to 4. We have a large dedicated that's going to be filled with fabulous equipment so that we're flexible to train for all of our industry and community partners. And centers of excellence, in addition to applied technology, are in our arts and humanities, our hospitality, our public safety, and then of course our health professions. These centers of excellence really are your center of excellence, the community center of excellence, and they are built directly with business and industry's input. So as a matter of fact, we are kicking off, one of the next ones that we're kicking off is our public safety center of excellence. We just had a meeting on Monday with our designers, and we're going to be working with our business and industry, our agency partners, every step along the way, so that we're building it to the specifications that they need the training to be. And by having these centers of excellence, we're able to ensure that we're recruiting the highest quality faculty and staff. We have the spaces that are needed to fully train, and that we can attract those students. And we can help dispel some of the myths about these career tech fields. They are not the fields that they were 40 years ago. They are high tech. We are including, Industry 4.0, our 4 superpowers, into all of these centers of space so that they're flexible and adaptable, and we're continuing to build them around the new technology. One of the other areas that's at our East Campus that was built during COVID, so we're working on being able to really unveil it now, is our IT Center of Excellence. So we've built a new data center. We've built an ops center, and shortly before COVID, we did open our cyber warfare range. And we're really excited to be inviting the community into all of these spaces, and excited about what they mean to be able to train more and more students, including those high school students, and bringing youth in. So it comes full circle.
I love it. I love it. And I love it when we tell the students, that they aren't the jobs of old, right? They're not the jobs our grandparents had, and those, they are higher skilled, but also higher wages, right? So the opportunity is really phenomenal. So I'll turn back to Mona to just kind of talk about the organization now, Raytheon. What are your biggest challenges? What are the opportunities? Let's get a peek inside what you're dealing with now. What are the pain points and what are the opportunities?
Absolutely, Barbara. I mean, employee safety is our number one, priority. It's been a challenging year for us, just as it has been for the rest of the community. But we employ people in 30 states and 28 countries. So our business is a global business, and providing for the safety of our employees, is top priority. And I do want to, thank the great partnership with the community, the county, the city. I think the availability of the vaccination have been absolutely great, right? We had the pod on campus available not only to employees, but to families. I think that was awesome. And we're really trying to do the same, in other states as well. So that's kind of number one, challenge and opportunity, as well as the safety of our employees. But then, beyond that, the company merger I referenced earlier happened on April 3rd, 2020, in the midst of the pandemic. And that merger brought 2 companies together valued at $74 billion in revenue. This is the largest merger in our industry. And so now we are integrating these companies together. And again, I think we're seeing absolutely the promise of the merger by, the defense growth offsetting the commercial decline. So that's working really, really well for us. But, the integration of 2 companies of this size and magnitude is no easy feat. So quite a few challenges and opportunities associated with that. The third one, I'll talk about is the administration change, right? With the administration change, there is always uncertainty about what the priorities of the administration are the programs that we've been focused on going to stay funded and, stay on the radar. But the good news is I think we're seeing a continuation. We haven't seen any major shifts, at least in terms of defense priorities, because let's face it, the threat is still there. There might be some, change at the program level in terms of priorities and funding, but at the macro scale, the trends that we had in the Trump administration are continuing, at least at this point. So again, we watch that very closely. We watch the budget trends. We watch kind of the government focus and priorities, because that obviously have impact on our industry. And lastly, I'll mention just one more, cyber security, programs. And Amanda, I'm happy to hear about your cyber warfare range, right? We need more of that talent. And actually, President Biden just last week signed an executive order around cyber security, and that was really prompted by the major cyber attack on the Colonial Pipeline, which, as you all know from the headlines, it was pretty impactful to the country, right? So that means, the focus on cyber talent continues, and that's a really tough area from a talent perspective. So anything that we can do to continue to grow that talent, that pipeline, that skill set is going to be helpful, not only today, but well into the future.
That's good. It's really good to hear too, though, that it sounds like you're navigating all of these things and moving forward, and that we're not expecting anything too, terrifying to occur. This pandemic has been terror enough, I think, on all of us. So hopefully we see growth in the future and opportunity. So here's my Disney princess question of the day for you. If you could wave a magic wand, what would you ask for in order to be more successful? So think about, is there something in our community that's missing? Is there a gap that you wish could be filled that would help you be more successful? What would that be?
Yeah, I mean, we already touched on some of the things that we need more of, right? If there were two things we would ask for, we need more of, is continuing to make the city and the state a place people want to come to, want to relocate to. We're talking about talent, right? We need more talent to, come to the community. So from infrastructure perspective, our roads, right? And how do we get people to work and from work as easily as possible? How do we make, that environment and that infrastructure a more welcoming place for people? And second, education, right? I mean, the theme of this discussion here, and we need to continue to invest in the school systems. We need more of that. We need teachers to stay in the environment. I moved twice with Raytheon, and I will tell you, every time I have moved, there were two things I was looking for. I'm a mother of two kids. I want to move to a community that provides the best education for my kids. And the second was my commute. I travel a lot, I work a lot. When I go home, I want to go home and I want to get there very fast, as quickly as I can, right? And so these are the things that, families, professionals look for. So, better infrastructure, better schools, and I will tell you, this is one thing I'll add, better flights to Tucson. When I travel, so I mean, right now, my team personally is split half and half between the Northeast and Tucson. And it takes 8 to 9 hours for me to get from the Northeast to Tucson. Right. So again, related to infrastructure, we need more direct flights into the area. We need to be able to get to hubs like Washington, D.C., to Boston, and really to enable that, easy transportation. Because, oftentimes it's like, our tendency is like, it's so hard to get there. Let's bring people, somewhere else. Instead, I want to change that trend. I want to make Tucson the destination versus getting people out of Tucson. So, if we were to talk, about magic wand, better education, secondary education, so we can really prepare for that pipeline and the future talent, better infrastructure, better flights into the area.
Well, it's awesome because Raytheon is probably the reason why we have much of the flight activity that we do have. So here's what we need. We need many of your the companies you work with, your vendors, your suppliers, and anyone in your supply chain to choose Tucson and help us, again, amp up that opportunity. So I think you're a big piece of that, and we sure appreciate what you do for the community, the people that you employ, and the livelihoods that really depend on the quality of life that your organization provides for them. So I appreciate that. Thank you for your candor today. It's been amazing.
Absolutely. We're an integral part of the community, and we love it. And we don't see that changing. When the business came together, Tucson is our headquarters, right? So we need to keep that vibrant and relevant for a long time, and we're committed to that.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you, and we want you to stay for a long time as well. So that's awesome. What I'm going to do is really just open it up to others. Are there questions out there? Feel free and just jump in, turn on your mics. We're a small enough group today. If you have a question of our panelists, do that now. Howard, I see you getting ready.
Well, I don't know if I have a question per se, but directing this, I guess, to Mona. We're actually a supplier of yours. We religiously fly in and out of Tucson. In fact, some years ago, with the help of the Tucson Metro Chamber, I got a group called Fly Tucson First, going to basically point out to our fellow employers and residents why we should be supporting our own airport instead of flying out of Phoenix. And I actually sometimes still give talks on this topic. But yeah, we probably lose about 1 million seats a year to Phoenix. And if we could get all those people start flying out of Phoenix, according to my estimates, we could, and talking also with the airport, we could probably pick up an extra 24 flights a year from the at least pre-pandemic 60 that we had at that time. The other thing I just like to say, I think a number of you know this, so I don't know if there's anybody new doesn't know kind of about our college tuition reimbursement plan, but we actually in both 2018, 2019, this is for everybody, not just for Mona, we experienced 26% of our workforce was in college, and they were working towards certificates, associate degrees, bachelor's degrees, and master's degrees. And I think, a lot more companies should be using our tax credits to pursue college tuition reimbursement. Unfortunately, I think a lot of CEOs kind of still look at it as more of an expense as opposed to an investment. But our company's done great by offering for years and years very college tuition reimbursements, and that's Amanda knows a lot about that because she and I have talked on this topic many times, and I think Amber does too. Thank you.
That's awesome. And I would, since Howard, you introduced yourself, and we did say some early hellos before we started our program, but let's just say who all's here. I'll just call on you, and if you'll introduce yourself and your affiliation, that would be fantastic. Jan?
Hi, I'm Jan Gordley, president of Gordley Group. We're a marketing and communications small business. We have about 12. I have to say we're very honored and proud to support Pima Community College in connecting to those possible students who could make such a difference. So really happy to see yesterday with the Center of Excellence and to hear more about the programs. We have had some internships with Pima students, and it's a little tougher for a small business to incorporate that. You have to find just the right niche, but I really think employers should embrace particularly the apprenticeship and internships.
Awesome. Thanks, Jan. And also, when you introduce yourselves, if you have a question, feel free to throw that out as well. Jack?
How did you know that I was working on undoing my microphone? Good morning, all. I am Jack Schumann. I'm co-chair of Optics Valley. Optics Valley is an Arizona-wide cluster for the optics, photonics, and astronomy sector. We are naturally very heavily invested in Tucson, thanks to the leadership of the College of Optical Sciences in our field. We have currently about 85 members, and there are a couple of our members on this call this morning. And they are no doubt aware from our various news flashes that we're working currently very, very heavily with Pima Community College. Denise and Ian and Greg Wilson, to not only recreate the former optics training program for certification, but also very much now on establishing some early apprenticeship programs. We are working very closely with another very famous community college that is really the leader in the country for optics technicians training. So we're very, very hot on that. We also, hello Mona, we're also working very, very closely with many of your colleagues to avoid actually you having such a high demand in flights out of Tucson by getting our local industry far more involved with your supply chain. And there's a very active program right now going on. The one thing that I missed this morning, you know, Pima Community College and also the University of Arizona are doing an excellent job in training our workforce. By the way, workforce development is one of my personal favorites in the tasks that we have in our cluster. The mention that I have missed was the mention of high school. JTET, we are currently working very intensely with JTET on them starting special optics industry training once their new building is active. And it is sort of a vision of mine where I simply say, when it comes to workforce development, it is a program from the cradle to the grave. And we need to involve everybody. So we did a couple of days ago on Sunday afternoon, run a 5-hour online program to celebrate the International Day of Light. And much of that was directed not at the people who already know what optics and photonics are, but to really get toddlers involved. We had a special 1-hour session directed at toddlers. We had a 1-hour session directed at parents. So this is something where I would challenge all of you, do pull the high school environment into your future discussions far more. I'm sorry that I'm missing this morning.
That's awesome. Thank you,
sorry,
Jack.
I could go on forever.
I know. Well, all of you have such vast experience and it all resonates. I want you to meet Erica. Erica, if you'd introduce yourself.
Yes, hi, my name is Erica Ingby and I'm the president of Sonoran Stitch Factory. And we do cut and sew for, I have an apparel division and also a commercial division. And I am very interested in workforce development. I am looking for sewers, I'm looking for fulfillment and warehousing, which isn't as hard to find, but and other things. I do entire vertical stack of services, everything from design conception to pattern making, samples, cut and sew itself, and then also I store inventory and ship and fulfill for some of my clients as well. So I am the full service provider for, again, apparel, and then I also own a couple of brands under that as well. So that's
great. Awesome. Thanks. Welcome. And now Greg.
Morning, Barbara.
Hi.
Hi. Greg Lucero. I'm the VP of Government Affairs for South 32. South 32 is a global mining and metals company based in Perth, Australia. So if you look at Vice Mayor Lee's map on her background, we're on the far left side of Australia. we've got operations in Australia, South Africa, South America, and we are trying to open up a mining project in Santa Cruz County down in southern Arizona. We are in the study phase of this project, but it will eventually be one of the world's largest lead and zinc mines. We'll probably also start producing manganese, which is a critical metal for the US military. And to follow up on what Jack was saying, we recognize that STEM education is critical to our industry. And in Southern Arizona, we've got a large unskilled workforce. So we have partnered with the elementary schools and have started a robotics program countywide. We are working with the middle schools. One of the other things that we've identified is that women in STEM industries is severely lacking. So we've targeted a middle school program specifically for girls at the middle school level. It's called the Tecnolo Chica. So we worked with the county school superintendent and focused specifically on STEM education. The other thing that wasn't mentioned is that we also partner with the University of Arizona with their teacher and industry program. Again, if we don't let STEM educators realize what jobs are out there in the STEM industry, how can they teach their students? So we sponsor 3 teachers to work with our company during the summer. That way, when they go back and teach their students, they can relate to them and let them know what's also available. And we do work closely with Pima College and Pima JTED. We're working on developing the curriculum that we're going to need to hire future employees.
Great, thank you, Greg. Stephen? He's there, you are. Hello, hello. Oh, you're on mute. Term of the year.
So a rare chance I get to work from home. So thanks for, I'm wearing 2 hats right now with Tucson Embedded Systems. I'm a VP, not the CEO. Military and aerospace solutions using model-based system engineering to develop next generation open systems, avionics, and systems for military aircraft. Another hat I have a startup with my son called Genesis Scientific, where we're doing advanced wound care with photonics. And we also have advanced nanotube graphene for FDM, fused deposition modeling, 3D printing for aircraft and space related parts and applications. So partnering pretty much up with University of Arizona and also University of Arizona State University, the advanced optics groups out there.
Awesome,
So
great.
thank you very much. You
Thanks
guys are
for
doing
joining.
great.
Awesome.
Oh, you're
How about Mike?
Hey everybody, so I'm not on camera. My name is Mike Hernandez. I'm actually covering right now for IBM Tucson. Apologies, Colleen Sanchez couldn't make it. And I'm the site ops lead currently, pandemic lead, and a couple other things. So I wear a couple hats too. So it's good to hear everybody and see everybody.
All right, someday we'll see those hats on the next one. How about Marie?
Hi there, I'm Marie Logston and I am new to the Arizona market. I'm based in Colorado. I'm a co-founder of a company called Ecologic Materials Corporation, and we take waste plastic, so plastic bags or shrink wrap that comes around pallets, and use it to make an asphalt modifier that makes the roads more temperature tolerant and require less maintenance. So we are partnering with a number of cities in Arizona, including Tucson, to build test roads this year and eventually build out a workforce there. I have been working on workforce development in Colorado for a long time. I was the chief of strategy for the governor for several years, and it was a major policy priority. And I still do mentorship for the TechStars Workforce Development Accelerator. I'm very involved in CareerWise and the internship program. And it's of concern both personally for our business to get folks in the pipeline, and then also I think just for the health of the statewide economy. So I really appreciated learning more about the landscape in Arizona. Thank you so much for hosting.
Awesome. Thanks, Marie. We're very excited about what you all are working on and getting that test road built here in Tucson. We love it. So let's say hello to Lindsay.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I've been in transit this morning. I'm doing a meeting after meeting, so I haven't had my camera on to be a safe driver, but I'm Lindsay Welch. I'm with the UA Tech Park. I'm Vice President of Corporate Relations. So we work with Raytheon as a tenant, and we work with several of you. It's nice to see friendly faces and learn a little bit about everyone's trajectory, and looking forward to continuing to be committed to acquiring talent and continuing to watch Raytheon's operation grow. So it's good to see everyone virtually, looking forward to continuing to see everyone face to face.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. And Bonnie, I know you joined us late, but we'll say hello. Making the rounds.
Thank you, Barbara, and I apologize for popping in late, conflicts. My name is Bonnie Matheson, and I am the territory manager for eCentire. eCentire is a company that provides cybersecurity services, managed detection and response, and we are expanding and really looking into the West area specifically. I've had some wonderful meetings in Tucson and looking to grow relationships in the Tucson area. Cybersecurity is, as you all know, very in the forefront of today's news with malware and ransomware. And eCentire is 20 years old in doing business with financial institutions, manufacturing, as well as government institutions. So just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself.
Excellent, thanks. And I do look forward to talking more. Happy to help you grow here in Tucson. That's what we're organized around, and you've got the A team right here. So we're pleased you join us. Thank you. So with that, really any good of the order or any last minute questions, anything else for the group that you'd like to share? You may feel free to do that.
Maybe a quick question for Amanda. You know, Amanda, we heard your perspective and all the great things, you know, you're doing with the programs, but is there anything that we can do better and differently to hold our own end of the game?
Oh my gosh, thank you for that. You all have been so incredibly supportive of Pima Community College, all of you here. And it's so great to hear that and be here with you all. So one, just please keep doing that. Please keep engaging. Please keep communicating, sharing with us what your needs are, what we're doing well, what we're not doing, because we always want to also hear that negative. We want to hear what we can do better. We want to make those changes. And then the other piece is I was so excited to hear about, you know, the focus on high school and what folks are doing with youth. We would love for you also to connect with us on what you're doing and what you want to be doing in regards to working with a younger group. So that's something we at Pima Community College definitely are engaged in and want to expand and grow. And having your help and partnership to do that would be wonderful. So please think of us as also partners on the things that you do working with youth and high school students. Thank you, Mona.
Awesome. That's great. Julie, I wanted to, if you're still there, give you the last word and wrap us up. There she comes. I know, I caught her off guard. I didn't mean to skip her, but she's got the
no
final.
problem at all. You caught me with someone in the front yard and the dog barking. So I apologize for advance and just say quickly, we're really glad to be part of this partnership. And I have heard the U of A mentioned many different times throughout this conversation, and just know that we're here and like Amanda said, always looking to grow our partnerships and meet the needs that you're experiencing in the community. So thank you so much for the opportunity to join you, and we look forward to the next one.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks, everyone. I want to respect the time. It's just coming up on the hour. Is that Howard waving? Are you waving goodbye or hello?
Yeah.
We'll
Right.
It's awesome. Thanks to our panelists. Thank you all for being here. We'll come back again and we'll make sure you have these dates on your calendar. Actually, we'll send that out pretty quick so that you can lock them in and plan for this accordingly. So again, thank you, Vice Mayor. And with that, we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Great meeting.
Thank you all. Thank you, Barbara and Nikki.